I'm definitely an artist first. I am a lyricist, a creative. I'm from Brooklyn, period.
My name is Ebony Smith. I'm a music producer, engineer, programmer, beat maker.
I'm Lydia Smith. I am a singer-songwriter, artist, musician. I play a lot of instruments.
My name is Gloria Kava. I am an engineer, producer, mixer, songwriter.
I'm TT the artist. I'm a filmmaker, producer, now executive producer, vocalist, and just all over multi-hyphen.
My name is Glam, producer, MC, songwriter, percussionist.
My name is Maria Elisa Allende, engineer, music producer, songwriter, label owner, Recording Academy trustee.
I am Beyonce. Y'all just kidding. My name is Andy.
Producer, I'm a DJ, I'm a graphic designer, I'm just a black creative.
What was the name of this film? Uncharted.
Everyone's here. Hi, guys. Okay. Are you going to stand all the way off that side? Okay. You got to go all the way down.
Yeah, come on up. Thank you so much. This is a really beautiful, inspiring film. And one of my favorite parts is seeing there at the end, all of those, here, you can go here, you in the middle, you're the filmmakers. All of those inspiring women up there who are creators of all different kinds, and engineers and beat makers and musicians, and it's really beautiful. So thank you for being here. I am so happy to be here with our director of photography, Ayana Baraka, and Barnard alum, and festival host committee member and cast member, Binta Brown. Thank you so much. This is a really very beautifully inspiring film, so thank you for sharing it. This is the perfect place to do that. I'm curious, how did you both come to the project?
Should I go first? Hi, everybody. Good evening. Happy Friday. So I had this idea in 2020, or actually what I had was a problem. And the problem was that I kept looking around. So just by way of background, I'm a lawyer, I'm an entertainment lawyer, but I'm also a talent manager. And at the time I was exclusively a talent manager. And I kept looking around and not seeing brown and black women represented. And there, especially in the hip hop and the R&B community, there would be these songwriting camps, but they were very male focused. And women's voices were getting lost, and that was concerning to me. And so I was on the board of She Is the Music, and I approached them and I said, I'd like to do a songwriting camp. And initially I wanted to do a songwriting camp in Chicago. That I wanted to do a songwriting camp, and I wanted it to be exclusively black and brown women. And serendipitously, someone, I think it was Katie Couric, approached She Is the Music and said, we'd love it if you guys, we want to do a documentary on women songwriters and artists and how hard it is to break. And so we just ended up putting everything together. So my role for this project was I selected 90% of the artists who were featured in the camp. And that's how I came to the project.
Well, amazing. Congratulations. That's really wonderful. How about you, Anna?
Okay, so I'm a documentary cinematographer, and a majority of my work comes by word of mouth. There is additional cinematography by Jenny Morello, who is normally Beth Ayala's cinematographer. And while I was living down south, a project that she was working on needed a DP, and I was living down south, so they requested me, and she just remembered my name and related to Beth for this project. I know Beth was adamant about having representation not only in front of the camera, but behind the camera too. So we had a phone call and hit it off, and that's how I joined the project.
And we were talking earlier that your entire crew was made up of women of color, which is really fantastic. So not just talking about it, but really living it as well. That's amazing. How do you think that having a crew that was entirely women changed, or set the stage for what the film became?
So, well, I want to touch on that too, because we filmed in several cities. So we actually had the opportunity of hiring Black and brown women behind the scenes in all of the cities that we filmed in. So Atlanta, Los Angeles, New York, Chicago. So I thought that was really important. But for me, being a woman of color and also working in a very male-dominated industry and understanding what work needs to be done, all the things that the women were saying in the film really resonated with me, and I felt I could capture their story in a really authentic way because I also experienced the same thing.
How about you, Pinta?
I think for the artist, I'm not going to say for all of us, I can't speak for everybody. Everybody's experience is different, but I think for the artist, particularly since they were all Black and brown women, and oftentimes had been left behind by the industry and their work. So that was one of the other things that we wanted to spotlight, is just the stories of what the struggle is and the difficulty. So I think for the artist that it helped create more trust and a space for more vulnerability and honesty and openness, because artists are really sensitive, right? And so to see that the person who's holding the camera, directing photography, directing the film, who's asking the questions, looks like you, particularly for this group of women, where the trust it tends to be less because of the experiences they've had in the business and the industry. It created a sense of warmth and trust. The songwriting camp was one of the most beautiful experiences of my career.
That's really lovely. So for you, Ayana, as the cinematographer, there's a lot of vulnerability on screen. So what's it like for you being behind the camera and capturing those moments?
It's a really special experience. When shooting, it's like my favorite thing. Like, you completely lock in, and it's seamless. Like, when you're fully immersed in like what someone's saying, and you don't even really have to anticipate. You're just there with them, having the same experience. So for me, it was really special. And to your point, feeling them, I could feel their comfort and their vulnerability when filming with them.
So Binta, you've got an extensive history in the music industry yourself. And I'm curious, no? Some, yes.
I'm bashful, I don't.
Okay, well, I'm just curious, for you, if you are comfortable talking about it, what it was like for you when you started, and how that inspired you to do the work that you're doing with this organization.
I entered the music business with a substantial amount of privilege, to be perfectly honest. I'd had a career a sterling career as a corporate lawyer. I'd been a partner, for 6-7 years in a top 5 global law firm that makes a ridiculous amount of money. And I made a choice to go and do this because it's where my passion was. And it was at the prodding and prompting of my father, my late father, now late father. He was not late at the time, he was right on time. Who told me to follow my passions and to follow my dreams, and that I would probably make mistakes along the way and I might fail, and that if I did, that I could always come home, and that ultimately he believed in me and he knew that I would find success. So my entrance into the music business was not the same as these artists, and it's not the same as many talent managers even. I, have multiple degrees. I went to Columbia Law School, Barnard College. That's not the story for the average talent manager, artist manager. Well, for talent managers, it is, but for artist managers, for music managers, it's not necessarily the story. But with all of that privilege and all of that pedigree and all of that success, there were still substantial barriers. On the one hand, there were some people who maybe didn't trust me as much because I had such a pedigree. And it's kind of like, well, what are you doing here? What can you do? There are some people who were offended by that. And then on the other hand, it was just being a black woman and sometimes me being very frustrated that why is this as challenging as it is? But ultimately, and then there's other little issues, like the stereotypes that are sometimes put on. And I felt a lot of that, with people not understanding my intentions sometimes. Sometimes ascribing negative stereotypes of black women to me, which were totally inconsistent with what was actually happening. It continues to be a learning experience. I feel very blessed. I'm a partner in a big entertainment firm now and very happy with that. But yeah, I bootstrapped, I figured it out. I've worked with especially some of the biggest stars of the 2010s. The 2020s aren't over yet, so it remains to be seen. I do work with some big stars from all time too. I've been extraordinarily blessed, but it's a hustle. It's a lot of hard work, and it has required for me extraordinary humility and learning, and grace and compassion, and just going step by step.
Thank you for sharing that. Anna, for you, in your career as a cinematographer, it's such a traditionally male role behind the camera. There's so very few female cinematographers that get noticed. And so how did you get into this? Did you go to film school? And how was it for you?
So I'm laughing because I've done all the things. So I started out in New York working as a camera technician at ARRI CSC at the time. It was in New Jersey. And I worked my way up, made my way to feature films, got the letter from Local 600 that I could join, but at the same time got a letter from USC Film School. So I decided to go to film school instead. And the gentleman at the union was like, well, we've never had someone decide to go to school after getting into the union. So then I went to California and just kept working. I worked on a bunch of documentaries. I just didn't stop working. And by the time I graduated, one of the films was an Oscar it was shortlisted for an Oscar. One was nominated for an Emmy. And I shot my first, as a solo DP, shot my first feature film starring Lupita Nyong'o and Denai Guerrera right after film school. And then I just kept working, and I currently still work as a cinematographer for documentaries and commercials. But it's been a long, kind of a long,
long journey.
Road. Yeah.
But you made the right choice, clearly.
Yeah.
With all your success. So have you faced, specific roadblocks and challenges, like I'm sure we all have in law or in filmmaking, where there are so many roadblocks for women, and especially women of color?
Oh, absolutely. I remember I was on a set in California and I wanted to learn more about lighting and grip. And the key grip on the production didn't think that women should be in that role. And so he had me do all of these ridiculous tasks, like there's like these really large coils that you connect to generators. It's probably like 200 pounds. He's like, put that on the truck, okay. And then threw my breakfast on the ground. And it was just like a whole bunch of things that I don't know why I tolerated it, but in that moment, I was just like, oh, this is like the industry. This is how it is. It's changed quite a bit, but that's something that I will always, it'll be with me forever.
Yeah, Binta, did you experience the same in your legal career?
In my legal career and my career as a talent manager, both. You know, I'm a partner at a blue chip law firm and entertainment lawyer, and I can count. I think that there are less. Sorry, I'm kind of emotional about this. I think that there are less than 5 Black women who are in my position as entertainment partners. There are Black women who have their own boutique law firms, small firms, but I'm talking about the big firms, you know, working with the big, huge superstar talent on a consistent basis. That's problematic. As a talent manager, very, very few. I know all of the Black women talent managers, or all of the Black women artist managers. We all know we're on a group chat with each other. Yeah. We shouldn't all know each other. There should be many more of us than that. I have been shut out of conversations. Guys doing guy things off on the side. I have witnessed sexual assault of my female artist and had to carry artists out of venues because I was deeply concerned about what could happen. I've heard things and heard the way people speak that are, it's the kind of thing where you can understand why somebody might give up, but it takes the courage, the fortitude, and the perseverance in deciding not to. So it's the music business is a highly unregulated and extremely rough business. But it's also incredibly important that those of us who are passionate about it, and the entertainment business writ large, it's important that those of us who are passionate about it and see its value and importance to our society and our culture and the fabric of who we are, that we persist and that we figure out a way to just keep moving. And that, you know, and this is especially to the women in the room who might pursue this path or are thinking about it. If, God forbid, something should happen, to know that there are resources and people who care and to form relationships and communities and bonds and circles of trust is incredibly important.
Yeah, the film is so much about mentorship, and you're talking a lot about like peer-to-peer mentorship too. And you talked about your dad really sort of like helping you along the way. Have you, like, what is your experience with mentorship? And also, like, how are you carrying it forward to the next generation?
Yes, I'm big into mentorship. So I'm a part of a group called 600 Black Women. Out of the 10,000 members in Local 600, we are the 1%, and I'm one of now 6 Black female cinematographers in Local 600. So out of those 10,000 members, one of 6. And we're also in a group, a WhatsApp group, and we encourage each other, and we, send each other jobs like, hey, this thing is available. And that's actually how I crewed up for a lot of the jobs when we were traveling, just sending messages to that group like, hey, I need a camera operator in this city, and then people would reply. So yeah, just bringing folks on set and just, showing them the ropes.
Yeah, and being inclusive, like you mentioned, yeah. We only have a couple minutes left, but I was going to ask you, so this film premiered in last June. Are there any updates on any of the women that are in the film?
I'm so bad. I should have checked in with them because they're all my friends. I think that they're all prospering and thriving. Every time I see a red carpet, she's on it. So she performed at the Clio Awards during Grammy Week. to rave reviews. You know, it's step by step. One of the challenges right now with artists is that we see them develop because of social media. So we're seeing parts of their careers that we would never ever see now. So I would just ask people to be patient because all of these artists are stunning and beautiful artists, and I believe deeply that they're going to make it.
How many artists have been through this camp in particular?
Well, this is the first time we had put together anything like that. I mean, She Is the Music as an organization has had songwriting camps, but this was the first time when it was centered on Black and brown women. And some of the other songwriting camps, to be honest, haven't had that many. That was one of my other motivating factors. There were a lot of reasons why I was like, guys, we really got to do this.
Yeah.
So,
well, it's a really beautiful experience, and I'm so glad that it was captured on film. Where can we tell our friends to see this movie next? Where can they find it?
I don't think it's public yet.
I don't think it's public.
It's not public yet, but we'll make sure that.
So is there
know.
like a Instagram, or what can we follow?
There is a Uncharted Instagram page.
Fabulous.
And I don't know.
Let's Get Her Charted.
Is that what it is?
Mm-hmm.
I just
Let's
know
Get
that.
Uncharted.
Let's Get Uncharted.
Okay. Let's Get Her Charted.
Let's Get Charted.
Let's Get Charted.
We don't want to be uncharted. We want to chart.
Great. Let's Get Charted. Yes. Okay. Well, thank you both so much for being here and sharing this film with our audiences, and best of luck.